Welcome back, home CEOs. It's your host, Nicole Jakes. This episode is about all things clean beauty in your home. So today I sit down with Prudence Millsap. She's the CEO of BeautyByEarth, a clean beauty company based in the US. And we really focus on talking about insights on how she balances her role as a home CEO and CEO, providing tips for aspiring entrepreneurs in the beauty industry, but also the importance of clean beauty in today's market in our homes, better tips and tricks on looking at ingredients, and how to really round out your wellness routines and beauty. The conversation also dives into the importance of clean beauty in today's market and highlighting how BeautyByEarth stands out in its commitment to health and environmental responsibility. So if you're looking for all of the tips on how to have clean beauty at home, we've got you covered on this episode of The Home CEO. Let's dive in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. You are not only a home CEO, but you run BeautyByEarth, which is one of my favorite skincare companies out there. Can you take everybody from the beginning? Like, how did your experience as a home CEO influence the creation of BeautyByEarth?
Sure. Well, like a lot of people, I was working a 9-to-5 job at the time. I had just had my second kid, so I had a toddler and a newborn. And my toddler started to experience some neurological issues, we can say, in a major way. So after many, many doctors and many opinions, we're like quite a clean family. I've been sort of eating organic and all of this since I was about, I don't know, in my teenage years, I would say. And one of the doctors I was working with really sort of said to me, like, you should just make sure there's no like chemicals around your house that could be triggering something or whatever, because we tried everything else. And so I started looking even deeper into, I always was clean on the food side, but maybe bought into too much marketing from brands I thought were clean on the skincare and like home side. So started looking into those and like educating myself even more, and was like, okay, this is not as good as I thought it was. So basically, I was already sort of trying to in that mindset of like wanting to start my own business, wanting to branch out on my own so that I had more time with my kids, and ultimately had more time to cure my son, was the final sort of linchpin to me quitting my job and starting this company. And I decided, well, why not venture into making products that are truly clean, that I would use, that are good, and that are affordable. Because there was some brands out there, not a ton, that made products that were truly clean, but either they just didn't feel great to use, or they were really expensive for the average household. So that was kind of how our journey started.
Amazing. I feel like there's always a turning point in someone you love's health or your own health that makes you say, hold on, let me flip over every box, every food item, and take a look at really what I'm consuming and make a change. So bravo to you. That is not easy to do.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what BeautyByEarth means to you. Talk to me about the company, you know, what's behind it, why you love it. I can tell you. I'll tell you after you tell me.
Okay, good. So for me, it's about products that I use in my home, that my kids use. Not all of them, obviously. My kids don't tan, they're boys, but that my kids could use, you know, that they were safe enough to have around for the whole family, that felt good, were made in the USA. And sort of once we started, it was like, okay, how can we make this eco-sustainable also? How can we make the formulas biodegradable so that when they wash down the drain, they're not harming marine life or whatever? Like, you have to think of all the sort of outcomes, right? Then we transition to like paper that's made with sustainable forestry. Our own warehouse, which is fairly large, is like wind powered, and the manufacturer of our boxes is wind powered. And like just getting into more sort of sustainable efforts, in addition to the obvious, like, it's kind of an expectation you need to be cruelty free these days. That's sort of a given. But like, how do we go beyond just that and make sure that we're not harming the earth? Because every brand has some sort of a footprint, you know? So minimizing plastic use and minimizing single-use plastics. And then we've taken it further, I'd say, like every year. 2 or 3 years ago, we became a plastic neutral brand. So we pay for the collection and recycling of water-bound plastic that would otherwise go into like rivers and oceans, equal to the amount of plastic that we consume as a brand. And sort of we've just kind of, these are the things that are important to me. I really care about our environment. I know that if we continue the way that the world is going, like it doesn't look good. So how can I impact that myself? Because if every one person does a little bit, it all adds up. So that's kind of, and then the other thing that was really important to me was like made in the USA. I feel like brands that manufacture overseas, the transparency is tricky as far as like what's in it. Is that really what's in it? Because they're non-regulated to a degree, unless somebody like independently audits them or something. So that was the other thing that was important. I wanted to manufacture with not only USA-based companies, but like other family-owned manufacturing facilities. You know, how can I, because when we were small, like nobody wanted to take a chance on us. When we were just starting, I would call labs and get turned down all over the place. So now that we're bigger, it's like we want to manufacture with other family-owned businesses, not big conglomerates and stuff like this. And it's like, I don't know, it just changes the dynamic.
Absolutely. I think for me, Beauty by Earth in my autoimmune journey, really, I live a pretty clean lifestyle before, very similar to you. And we had kids and I had deep dives in when I was pregnant and then questioned like, why are we able to do things when like we're not pregnant, but when we are pregnant, we have to give up a lot. Why? And it started there. And then I got my autoimmune, but I really needed to deep dive and like clean out everything. I mean, every cabinet, every ingredient, rebrand labels, make my own. I mean, I got as close to homesteading as you can get and realized this isn't sustainable for me and my family. Like, who can I trust? But one of the hardest things for me was to shed the idea of I couldn't get volume in my hair. I couldn't have a tan or a glow amongst my skin. I could not find beauty products I could trust. And it was pretty crippling because we live in a world, especially in my industry, where you're on and your face is your brand. And I wasn't feeling very confident. And kind of the first time in my life, I really lacked confidence because I had to give up so much. I just felt like my body's revolting against itself. And now the industries are revolting against me too. And I found Beauty by Earth. And I remember the day I put on the sunless tanner and I woke up in the morning and I was like, I'm back. Like I just was this feeling of,
Yeah.
I can trust your product. I can be eco chic with it because you are. I can trust this brand. And I remember saying, I want to find more brands like this. And it led me down a big rabbit hole, which is now what I share. But Beauty by Earth was one of the first ones I found. And it came from a friend who was in Texas. And she was like, hey, I'm struggling. I found this company. What do you think? So thank you for what you do because it really does make a big difference.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm the same. I'm a basic girl. I don't wear a lot of makeup, you know. I keep it au natural most of the time, but like everybody else, you know, very fair skinned. And at least for me, like having a tan helps me to not need foundation and not need a bunch of face makeup and stuff like that. So that's sort of my makeup, if you will.
Yeah.
To make myself look in the mirror and feel good, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes you just need that glow. And here in Oregon, I don't get it for months on end. And I feel translucent. So I'd rather not cake on makeup. I'd rather just be able to use that. Plus all of the benefits of it not getting on my sheets and there's no dye in it. And you looked at everything else that we had been using for so many years thinking, oh my gosh, I put this like green goop all over my body to look tan. What was I putting on my body, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really a superior product in my opinion, far and wide. And the sea salt spray is one of my favorite. Everyone always asks, Nicole, where do you get your volume? And I'm like, it's Beauty by Earth.
I love
Oh, thank
that.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hair and that glow are a large part of feeling good. Even if I'm in sweatpants all day cleaning the house, like there's something about it. Confidence is a big thing, you know?
absolutely.
So, how does your philosophy on natural and non toxic products extend to your overall wellness at home? You had mentioned you live a pretty low tox base,
Hmm.
basic kind of lifestyle, but talk to me more about that in depth.
Yeah, so we do we get our meat from farms shipped to us. We buy organic fruits and veggies. Try and eat food that's like minimally processed. Try not eat things from packages, but eat good whole foods. Sweeten things with honey or maple syrup or this, again, unprocessed sort of sweeteners. And then like as far as in the home, we clean with vinegar. We don't use like scented stuff in general. So like no perfumey laundry detergent. Not using like Fabuloso in my home or something like that. We really try and keep it, even honestly, like when we paint, we use like low or no VOC paints. And then we just try keep it as clean as possible. And then as far as like other, like I'm also super into wellness, I would say, like life longevity and wellness. I feel like it all sort of goes hand in hand. And so I do a lot of other things as well. I I do red light therapy. I do hot and cold therapy all the time. I do vitamin IV drips. I do hyperbaric oxygen. I do ozone sauna and a whole range of other things that are just good immune boosting sort of therapies and treatments. And then for me personally, like when I say I live a clean lifestyle, like I've never touched a drug, I've never been drunk. I stay really clear of just things that my body would view as poison. Outside of maybe coffee. Coffee's maybe my vice. um, but yes, exactly. Cheers to that. And I think a lot of it is about what you do and a lot of it is about what you don't do. And it's hard to be perfect. So I try and keep it like, do 80% right. And I'm also big on like exercise, weightlifting, cardiovascular training. I get blood work often to understand where I'm at and take a holistic approach. I see an integrative doctor who is basically just like optimizing things. Like, how do we optimize things so that not because I'm trying to live to 120, but I want to live into my older years feeling good, being mobile, not being in chronic pain, keeping my inflammation levels low. And so all of these things really contribute to that. And I love to be in sort of that world for other people as well.
Well, you are. I mean, you're producing all of everything Beauty by Earth is exactly that. And so I don't have to think even about flipping it over. There are a lot of brands out there that I love, but not every one of their products is clean. What was your approach on that? Because anything
Mhm.
Beauty by Earth I know is going to be clean.
Right. So this was the exact issue that I ran into, which when I went into creating Beauty by Earth, I was like, I don't want to be it. Because if we just released one product that had stuff in it that made people question the brand, it ruins the trust. So for me, like I personally work with the chemists to develop every single product. I test it. I mean, you should see my desk. It looks like a sample lab. It's crazy. And I test it on myself. I thoroughly go through all of the ingredients and understand exactly what's in it. I say no to a lot of things, because I'm like, nope, if we slip up one time, we're done. Like people just can't trust us if you do that. So to me, part of our ethos as a brand is like, no matter what it is, it has to be good. It has to be clean ingredients. a lot of brands sort of push the limits and I'm just not into it. I'm like, if it's too questionable, just we're not going to go there.
Absolutely. Hey, home CEOs. Okay, big question. Are you ready for Father's Day? It's coming up and fast. And this Father's Day, I wanted to give you a tip. Treat any dad like royalty with Good Ranchers, the #1 American meat delivery service. They just launched the King Cut box. It's my husband's favorite. And it's stuffed with thick-cut bone-in ribeyes, center-cut filet mignons, and thick-cut bone-in New York strips. And it's a perfect way to make any dad's day sizzle. But guess what? This gets better. Good Ranchers is offering free bacon for life. I know, you heard me right. With any new subscription. So use my code HOMECEO and get 2 packs of uncured applewood smoked bacon with every order. Yeah, free bacon forever. So again, here's how you're going to nail Father's Day. All you need is to follow these directions. Head to goodranchers.com, grab the King Cut box for dad, subscribe to their amazing meat boxes for yourself, use your code HOMECEO at checkout for your lifetime supply of bacon and enjoy free shipping and make Father's Day unforgettable. So great, right? Change the way you buy meat today at goodranchers.com. Again, with my code HOMECEO to claim your free bacon for life. And this year, let's give dad more than just funny dad jokes. All right, back to the home CEO. Okay, so for someone who manages both a business and personal life, what self-care practices do you recommend for other home CEOs? So give me like your top 3. Because you do a lot, which I love.
I do.
I like that too. Like I've got my Finnish sauna and I've got my red light. It's actually sitting right here, and I've got my cold plunge outside. But that's not always feasible for everybody, right? So give me like your top 3 practices for a home CEO that they could take on for wellness that could make a difference for them.
Yeah, so I feel like there's a lot of like low lift stuff. For me, I wake up early every morning. I'm a 6 a.m.er. I'm at the gym. I get in about an hour of working out before I come home and like pack my kids' lunches and such, like be present while they're getting ready for school and all of that. And then I do a full work day with everything else. I make a practice of like after lunch, I go for a walk, 20 minutes, 1 mile. It really aids the digestion. It keeps your insulin levels low after you eat. So basically, take a break for lunch, maybe 40 minutes total. I'm away from my desk. I eat. Again, I'm eating like, maybe some chicken and veggies kind of thing. So it's not a long prep time. Normally I have, stuff ready to go. And then I go straight on a walk following a meal. It's like what is important to you is what you make time for, right? So if you just make these things important, it's easy. And then for me, it's about food.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like a low inflammation diet. So good quality meats. I personally am more of a lean meat type of person. I'm a chicken and fish sort of gal. And I'd say those are the 3 things to me. Because I think, I know if you don't use your body, it goes away. Yep. It says, these muscles aren't important anymore. It's time to fade. So for me, going into my, middle-aged years, if you will, strong with muscle, low inflammation levels is really important.
I think you're spot on. I look at consumption. So like in the morning, it's all about rituals, not routines, because I think rituals are sacred. And so like I hit hydration really hard in the morning. I think that's something everyone can do, right? We can wake up, we can have lemon water, we can balance it with some, whole food collagen and bone broth. Like you can get up and drink and hydrate. And that's something that's really valuable to keeping your energy levels high, your sugar levels from crashing. I agree with the walk after eating. So I do the same thing, and we call them fart walks.
Okay.
That's all your digestion going. And
yeah,
it was a way to like get the kids to do it, because I have a 6 and an 8-year-old, and I don't want to always have to be like, honey, can you watch them? I'm like, no, everyone, let's go and walk like after dinner. We call them fart walks. It works. Okay.
Yep.
It works. The kids are like on a fart walk and they laugh and they giggle, but it's really important for digestion. And it's something that's free, right? Wellness is just for the wealthy. And I think that that's a common misperception. And then I'm very big about like having some direct sunlight or going outside and being in nature or grounding myself. And I think these are all things that we can do and that are accessible to us that don't cost us anything, right?
Yeah.
Work is even important. So
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't go to the gym in the morning, for me, like going to the gym is like I kill multiple birds with one stone because while I'm at the gym, I'm drinking minimally 40 ounces of water in that 1 hour. So by 8 o'clock, when I'm back home, I've consumed 40 ounces of water. I think it's really important to drink a lot of water before your first cup of coffee. They say that you shouldn't have your first cup of coffee till 90 minutes after you wake up. So it kills that bird for me too. I feel like I'm ready to start my day. I've like used my body, put it to use. Otherwise, I'll just sit at my desk all day long. Not good for me. And I'm not sacrificing time with my kids because my kids are asleep still. So it's like I just go to bed. I also get 8 hours of sleep every night. It's like a non-negotiable. It keeps me sane. I don't wake up dragging ass. I'm not tired. I'm on all day because I've moved. I've gotten my morning sunlight also when I go out in the morning. That's very important for your circadian rhythm and all of that. So yeah, for me, a lot happens in that first hour of the day. I check a lot of boxes in that first hour.
I know, and it feels good. You're like very productive, right? Like my first item on my list when I wake up is wake up. And I'm like, I've done it. All right, now we're going to start the day like productive because I've already woken up. And people are like, Nicole, that's silly. I'm like, whatever motivates you to do it. I think that's something that we get stuck in with wellness is how do you ever keep motivated to do it? And it's like once you feel so good and so clear, it's so hard to say no to feeling that good, right?
Right.
So it keeps you going. Could you describe like how ideas for products like the sea salt hairspray, which is my favorite, are sometimes inspired by like everyday home life or personal needs?
Yeah. So for me, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I look for something and I'm like, I can't find it. Then I'm like, wonder if this be a good product to develop. I check out the size of the market. Like, is this something that is in demand? Are other people searching for this? Right. And if so, I'm like, why not? Like, let's give it a shot and see if we could get it to where we wanted to get it. And I remember when I was developing the sea salt spray, I was like trying to research like, okay, what can I put in it? Because most hairsprays or styling products that come in a spray have like isopropyl alcohol in it, like rubbing alcohol, which is very dehydrating for your skin or your hair. And so I was like, okay, how do I get around? You need something sticky-ish, like you need, which is what alcohol provides. It provides hold. So I'm like, how do I find this without destroying people's hair, And I was doing a research and I came across this article about vodka and how vodka is really good for your scalp. And I was like, what? That's weird. So I asked the chemist, I was like, can we just use vodka in it? Like, because it's good for the scalp. It's an alcohol, but it's a different type of alcohol, right? So these are sorts of the places that my mind goes when I just research on Google like everybody else would. And then I'm like, okay, what's good for the scalp? And then what's going to give the product the deliverability and promise that a product like that requires? Like it needs to provide body. It needs to have some sort of hold for your hair. It needs to do this and that. What botanicals or natural things can I use that will get there?
How cool. I think that's what I love. I say commonly on my platform, I've done the homework on this one, so you don't have to. And I feel like that is the confidence I put in Beauty by Earth by being my go-to for beauty supplies because I know you've done it too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to share that. I think that's super important. There's not every CEO or business owner or someone who's bringing your product to market does the right research. And I know that you do, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
How do you think non-toxic beauty products contribute to a safer and healthier home environment?
In a lot of ways. I mean, obviously, like our skin is our biggest organ. So what we put on ultimately can end up in your bloodstream. So you need to know that and be okay on whatever you ingest, whether it be through your skin, through your mouth, whatever, you're okay with going into your system. And how can that affect your body and your body's performance over time and long term, right? And then I think there's the aspect of like our market and our demographic is really married people with children. Like people, a lot of people, not everybody when they're young, they don't think about these things. They want to buy what's popular, what's cheap, what they can get at the local store, whatever, right? What they see their friends using. And they're not to that point in their life yet where they're concerned about their health and they're concerned about these types of things. I feel like when you have kids, you turn a new leaf. The focus is no longer just yourself. It is yourself because you need to be there for your children, but it's also not just yourself because you're like, okay, I have these other humans that I now have to think about. So especially like people who have little girls, like they watch what you're doing. They watch what you're using. They want to put makeup all over their face, you know? And so it's like if you have stuff in your home that is not a big deal if they do that with, like if they decide to go clean the windows and they're using some toxic stuff and they get it all over them for whatever reason, that's one thing. If it's white vinegar that they're using to spray on the windows and they get it all over them, that's entirely different. So it's like, I think having these things around that are not a problem if the kids get into, like squirting out body wash into the bath to make it bubble, or like what does that look like, you know? So for me, those are the reasons why and what I think is important in as far as like what we have, whether it be makeup or skincare or hair care or any of it.
And like how profound. I do have a daughter and she's constantly watching me and she's like, can I use that too? And I'm like, you have at it and you can learn how to do it yourself. And I can empower her at a young age to not only do it herself, but know that it's safe. I was one of the only parents who didn't have locks on her cabinets.
Yeah.
Right. And people were like, why do you not, like there's chemicals here. I'm like, the ones I made in the glass bottle.
Yeah.
You know, baking soda or white vinegar or scented. I'll scent it with, you know, some orange peels. It's like, it's okay. They get into it. As long as you have the screw top on and they can spray it and not chug it, you're good, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But even if they did get into it, it would be something that's more reputable. Like I can course correct. I think that that's maybe what we don't always think about. Like we think about the environment, which you've mentioned, and being eco-chic and taking care of the environment for the next generation. But as you're taking care of them in your home, why are you not making sure that there is a low, no toxic barrier there for them to exist in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Do you have any feedback from customers about switching to non-toxic beauty products? Any like recommendations you have, ingredients to really look out for? I think so many people are very intimidated to change over their beauty routines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me personally, and like things that are somewhat, because look, there's some ingredients that like everybody agrees are bad, right? Parabens, sulfates, like the SLSs of the world. Again, a lot of people have misconceptions. Like even in our sea salt spray, we have magnesium sulfate, which is another word for Epsom salt. People say, oh, I thought your products don't contain sulfates. Well, they don't, not the bad kind, but Epsom salt is something different, you know? But the bad sulfates, the SLSs, SLES, all that, everybody agrees on these things. It's another thing, and it's very somewhat controversial when you come into fragrances. A lot of people don't understand how fragrances are derived and what the actual ingredient list within a fragrance really is, because there's not just the chemicals used to make the scent compound. There's also chemicals used to make the scent linger and last. And these are common ingredients that if people knew what they were, would avoid, right? Phthalates and stuff like this. We really, like, in my estimation, and even in the tanning world, like, you know, 90% of what's on the market has dyes in it. Well, why is that bad? Again, it's similar to fragrance. Like, well, what are they derived from? And how do they actually affect your endocrine system? Are they neurotoxic? You know, there are lots of studies that have found some of them, especially red, to be linked to ADHD and neurological stuff. Like, to me, I'd rather not, you know? I think there's enough things in the environment alone that if there's things that we can control, that's one that I'm going to control. I don't let my kids do food coloring. I'm never ever baked a cake with food coloring in my life, you know? I think these things are unnecessary. I just put in our products what I think and know I would use and I would be okay with. And I assume now some people are take crunchy to the next level, and there's certain things where they're just like, it's either beef tallow or I'm not using it. And I understand that, right? I'm not that extreme personally, but I don't fault them. I just, for my lifestyle and like how much I have to do, I don't have time to make my own makeup, this sort of thing. So there's brands that I trust for that stuff that use fruit-based pigments or whatever in their products that I'm okay with. The thing that I love hearing, like when a consumer comes to us and they maybe don't care so much about clean, but clean is like, oh, I like the product first, and then it's a bonus that it's clean. I'm like, heck yeah, that's amazing. Because I just cleaned up one thing in their routine or two things in their routine that would otherwise not be great for them. So that's what I love to hear. And that I love to hear that they love the product first. And then they find out, oh, this is also not bad for me. That's a bonus.
Absolutely. I always bring like gift bags to women who have just had kids, and I always include your products in them because I know I'm giving them something that is getting them back to their own routines of self-care and taking care of themselves, but that's clean for them and it's okay for baby. And it's like, if I can do that, I wish there were more brands out there I felt confident enough to do that with, that were also like confidence enhancers and actually work, right? So many times I pick up a clean product, and in my world, I'm on the antithesis of that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab this product because it's clean and the research is there. And then I hope it works, right? And you're able to hit both. And that's really, really unique. How does Beauty by Earth help educate consumers on the importance of non-toxic products within the home?
We put out content around that. Like, if you're only going to avoid 5 things, what are the 5 things you should avoid? We put out content around certain ingredients and why it's bad for you. What the studies, a lot of people don't go online and read the PubMed studies that are very technical, or they don't understand them, or they can't deduce from what's being said what it means, you know? So we try and put out content that helps to educate people. You know, people react differently to that sort of content. I equally get flack as I do praise for it. That's fine by me. This is the world of the internet. I don't take any of it personally, or I'd be a very unhappy person. But I just try keep doing it and keep pushing it, because if they hear it enough from enough people, they're like, okay, why are so many people talking about this? You know, or how come I keep hearing about this ingredient or what have you? So that's how we do it. Emails, advertisements, blogs.
Yeah, the digital presence, right? I think it holds such weight in our world today. And it's exactly why, 2 years ago when I started my platform, I had no idea. And as my life evolved and the platform evolved, and to be able to share what I've learned, I think is not only important, it's essential to really moving the mission ahead. So thank you for that. Are there any upcoming products designed specifically with home use in mind that you can tell me about?
Home use. When you say home use, you mean non-skincare, hair care related?
Yeah.
We're not really branching into like cleaning products or anything like that. There's enough products to work with in just skincare, bath, body, hair, that sort of arena that we're working on. That's really our core focus. So we recently launched some new body washes, for example, that are more concentrated than our earlier body washes, less drying than our earlier body washes, that are formulated with plant-based glucosides, so soaps that are derived from sugars or coconut. And we made them more concentrated, so just less water, so that it could be in a smaller packaging, less plastic use. And then we're revamping some stuff that maybe we've had for like 8 or 9 years, that the market has evolved. People have different needs and wants these days. So we're, okay, good. How can we not be left in prehistoric times? You know what I mean? In this world that's ever changing, and people's wants are ever changing, so we're doing a lot of that. And then we're trying to just really focus on like, what are the everyday things people use? Because people don't tan every day. So how can we change for people and give people really good products that are things that they use every day? We do have a lot of that, but there's a lot more that we don't have. So
Yeah.
that's what we're really focused on.
Okay, how do you balance your role as being a CEO with your responsibilities of being a home CEO? What are some tips you can give to someone who is struggling to find balance?
Yeah. So, I've been at this for 10 and a half years now. So I'm sure I've done a lot of it wrong. At the beginning, I was working very, very, very long hours, probably not spending enough time with the family. There's definitely times where business was the priority. It does not go over well long term, So you have to sort of like, okay, what's 80-20 as far as like, what can I outsource that I spend time on? So like, I don't clean my house. I have somebody who does that because it's time that I could have with my kids instead. It's time that whatever. I still cook all of our own meals because my husband likes my food better than, other people who cook. I also think it's like time that you get to spend together. So I pretty much knock off work no matter what at 5:00. My kids are home. It's time to cook dinner and like be present to them, go to their, sports and stuff after dinner time, like football games or basketball games or whatever sport they're in at that minute. And then I put them to bed. I, cuddles and all of that sort of thing, even though they're getting older and that's not going to last much longer. It's important because I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I should have cuddled my kids while they still allowed it, Weekends are family time. Like I really try not work on the weekends at all. And this wasn't always the case, right? Like sadly. So I just compartmentalize my day. And before 8 a.m. is like my me time. That's my time that I go to the gym. I listen to podcasts that I listen to a lot of like business e-commerce podcasts. That's my music of choice. So I keep myself educated. I listen to also like health related, longevity related stuff through podcasts and books, business books and health books. And then I just have time that's like, this is my family time, my kid time. And then I have time that is my husband's time. That's like date nights after the kids go to bed. We talk. He also works with me, so that's nice. We're just a room away all day long. Yeah, this is how I do it. I don't know that it's the perfect way, but I try and just have balance of sorts.
I think the biggest thing for me here is that in the early days of when you're starting a company, as I'm 2 years in this and it's hockey stick growth for sure, is you have to find carved out times to put your phone away, to take a day off. And you being your own boss has a lot of freedom and flexibility. And I think people think it's very glamorous, but I spend more mornings at 4 a.m. making sure my work is delivered before I'm making lunches, before I'm dropping off the kids at school. You have to have a supportive partner if you have one in order to do it. And really what I say is my business is my third kid. And I really mean that. It's an infancy stage. And even as it grows, it requires more of my time and attention. And you have to balance it all amongst those prongs. And you're right. Delegate, help, ask for help. Have, your community, find your village. And that's exactly why I started this podcast, is to hear from CEOs and home CEOs how we can all do this better for each other and give tangible advice on how to live the best life that we can. And I thank you for being so open and honest about it, because I don't think there are many people out there that can say, hey, I did it, I've failed, and I'm coming back to it, and these are my good tips. And so I appreciate hearing that from you. We're at the fun part of the show where we do truth or dare. And the reason we do this is because as a home CEO or as a CEO, you have to pivot a lot during your day and you don't know what's going to hit you. So I'm asking you, truth or dare. Which one would you like?
Truth.
Okay. I love it. I get more truths than dares, but the dares, when they do happen, are very funny, I must admit. Okay. And they're usually spitball. So like, have you ever regifted something that was given to you?
Oh, for sure. I have a whole closet full of it. I literally have a closet in my house where I not only put gifts that I've gotten that I will never use, like chemical laden makeup or candles or what have you. And for sure, that's not all I have in my regifting closet. I also like, this is a perfect example. I always have gift cards of things. Because if I'm like so busy that I don't think about like, oh, my kid's friend's birthday party who I don't know what they want is this weekend and I'm not going to go drive to a store. So I do a lot of like gift cards, like Target or Amazon or whatever for this reason of like, then the kid can go buy whatever they want and it's no stress for me. So I have like a closet full of gift cards, like blank birthday cards and every holiday cards and gift bags and boxes and all kinds of stuff so that last minute Larry, which is me, can just open the closet, put something in a bag.
I love it. We all have our strengths, right? And I always say, like, I don't use candles and I don't drink. And so I'm like, yes, I have a regifting closet. It's called the wine cellar. And it usually comes out for parties. But I'm the same way. That's one of those things. I'm either picking up the gift on the way to the birthday party. It's just one of those things. So gift cards is a good tip to have in your home CEO arsenal. Just make sure you have the gift cards and you're good to go, right?
That's right. And bonus, these are from like my Discover card points. I just order them through Discover or like whatever credit cards, right? These are just from credit card points. And then I just order like books of them. So Target, Amazon, and I have them in the closet handy, ready to go. Because who's going to be mad about getting, I mean, it's not a very thoughtful gift. I'll give you that. Not like, this kid likes this sport. So I'm going to get like, I don't have time to think this way, sadly. And a lot of the parents, like, I don't have their phone number to find out what their kid wants or whatever. So for me, this is my go-to.
That's actually a really good home CEO tip, by the way.
Yes.
And credit card points is an added bonus. So thank you for that. I usually get something very interesting from my guests on Truth or Dare. And I love it because it just shows a whole other side of real.
How lazy I am.
Or how busy you are, right?
Yeah.
There's so many layers into running a home, and it is a holistic aspect, and wellness is a really crucial piece. And it's like, how do I do all of this, but then keep myself balanced? And I think we're all kind of struggling. But if we look at it cyclically and we have these little tips like use your Discovery points to buy Target gift cards for birthdays you have coming in on a weekend that's busy, that's a home run tip. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you. I've had such a blast chatting with you. Where can we find Beauty by Earth and where can we find you on social channels? Tell us.
Yeah, so we are on Instagram and Facebook as Beauty by Earth. We are on TikTok as Beauty by Earth. Those are the main ones that we use. And then just beautybyearth.com. Oh, we're also on Amazon and Target.com.
And that's like the best. I actually get mine off of Amazon quite frequently because I'll be like running out and forget. Although I did stockpile when there was a sale and I bought 10 and I'm never complaining about that being a tip where I was like, this is something I'm going to always use. So I'm just going to buy 10 bottles and this is what we do. Yeah. By the way, they're great gifts, like I mentioned before. So thank you so much, Prudence, for being on our show. I've had such a blast chatting with you. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode, Home CEOs. We hope you enjoyed our chat as much as we did and found some nuggets of wisdom, or at least a good chuckle or a good cry. Remember to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss out on our next episode, which I promise brings more laughs, tips, tricks, and a sense of community with lots of enlightening moments. That's what we're here to do. This is the village you've been looking for. Until next time, keep smiling and stay curious. Shine your light wherever you go on those that are dim. They need it the most. Do something kind for somebody else and put a smile on their face. And move your body for someone who can't. In gratitude, you can. You are worthy. You are abundant. You deserve it. And you keep rocking your home like a biz. Cheers to more success, less stress, and less mess. I'll see you next time on The Home CEO.